The palace was on fire, but the people were not trying to save it. They were leaving. Workers carried belongings toward the city gates while smoke covered the roofs of the royal compound. The bronze workshops had gone silent. The wooden buildings were burning. And across the Huan River, another royal center would soon begin to rise. More than 3,000 years later, archaeologists would find the burned remains of that city and discover something extraordinary. The city had not simply been destroyed. It had been abandoned. And nobody left behind a clear explanation of why. The ancient city is known today as Huanbei. It stood in what is now Hunan province in northern China, beside the Huan River. During the Middle Shang-period, this was probably a major royal center. Its walls enclosed hundreds of hectares. Inside stood a large palace-temple complex, workshops, roads, wells, ritual areas, and buildings supported by massive foundations of compacted earth. This was a city built for power. Before the fire, the morning streets would have been busy. Farmers arrived carrying grain from the surrounding fields. Workers moved through the gates. Carts carried materials toward the workshops. Smoke rose from cooking fires and bronze furnaces. Near the center of the city, the royal district stood above enormous platforms made from layers of rammed earth. Workers had packed wet soil into wooden frames, then struck it repeatedly until each layer became hard. Layer after layer created platforms strong enough to support large wooden buildings. Above those foundations stood the palace-temple complex. Wooden columns supported heavy roofs. Open courtyards connected the buildings. Officials moved through the royal compound. Ritual ceremonies took place inside carefully organized spaces. The palace was not just a residence. It was a center of government and religion. And the same system controlled one of the most important technologies of the Shan world. Bronze casting. Inside a dark workshop, charcoal burned beneath a clay furnace. A craftsman prepared a mold. Another worker carried heated metal toward the casting area. Molten bronze glowed orange as it poured into the prepared cavity. The workers waited for the metal to cool. Then the mold was opened. A new bronze object appeared. The object could become a weapon, a tool, a vessel, or a ceremonial object. Behind that single piece of bronze was an entire network of people. Miners supplied raw materials. Workers produced charcoal. Craftsmen prepared molds. Transporters moved materials. Officials organized labor. And the royal court controlled the finished objects. Bronze was therefore more than a material. It represented power. The Shang rulers also controlled a complex ritual system. Ancestors were believed to influence the living. Royal ceremonies were performed to seek answers about harvests, warfare, weather, illness, sacrifices, and other dangers. Animals were sacrificed during rituals. Special objects were used in ceremonies. The royal court stood at the center of this religious world. And Huanbei was one of the places where that power was concentrated. For decades, the system worked. Then the city changed. At some point during the Middle Shang period, a massive fire swept through the royal complex. The archaeological evidence is clear about the destruction. The explanation is not. The first smoke may have risen above one of the wooden buildings. Someone would have noticed. Workers could have rushed toward the flames. Water may have been carried from nearby sources. But wooden roofs and walls can burn quickly. One building catches. Then another. Smoke fills the courtyards. Flames climb the wooden columns. Roof beams crack under the heat. Burning fragments fall onto the ground. People begin moving toward the gates. Some carry possessions. Some carry tools. Some may have tried to protect valuable objects. Others simply leave. The palace burns. The workshops burn. And the fire spreads across the royal complex. Then something happens that makes Huanbei different from an ordinary burned settlement. The city is not rebuilt. The palace is not restored. The royal center does not return. Instead, the political heart of the Shang world moves across the river. A new center begins to develop at what we now call Yinxu. That decision is the real mystery. Because fire alone does not explain abandonment. A damaged palace can be repaired. A burned workshop can be rebuilt. A destroyed wall can be reconstructed. But Huanbei was left behind. Why? Was the city attacked? Was the destruction connected to conflict? Was the fire deliberate? Did the royal court decide that the city should end? Was there a political reason for moving across the river? Or did several problems come together at the same time? Archaeologists can study the burned layers. They can examine the buildings. They can compare objects found inside and outside the palace. They can look at what survived and what disappeared. But they cannot recover a missing royal order. No surviving inscription from Huanbei simply tells us what happened. That missing explanation is what keeps the story alive. Because the physical evidence suggests that the end of Huanbei was not an ordinary accident followed by reconstruction. The city was abandoned. The royal center moved. And another city took its place. Across the Huan River, Yinxu would become one of the most important centers of the late Shang world. There, the archaeological record becomes much richer. Thousands of oracle bones were discovered. Their surfaces contain early Chinese writing. Questions were carved into turtle shells and animal bones. The Shang rulers asked about war. They asked about harvests. They asked about weather. They asked about illness. They asked about sacrifices. They asked their ancestors for answers. The bones were heated until cracks appeared. Those cracks were interpreted and recorded. Thousands of years later, the writing allows historians to hear fragments of the Shang royal court. But Huanbei is different. Its people left behind buildings instead of explanations. They left walls. They left workshops. They left palace foundations. They left burned soil. But they did not leave us the sentence that explains why they left. That difference matters. Yinxu tells us what the Shang court was asking. Huanbei shows us what happened before that later world was established. The two cities are separated by the Huan River. But they are also separated by a major political transition. One royal center ended. Another rose. And the people who lived through that transition almost completely disappeared from the historical record. Think about the bronze craftsmen. They had learned a difficult skill. They knew how to control heat. They knew how to prepare clay molds. They knew how much metal was required. Their workshop was part of their daily life. Then the fire came. The furnace went cold. The tools stopped moving. The workshop emptied. The craftsman left. Perhaps he crossed the river and continued his work in another settlement. Perhaps his children learned the same craft. Perhaps the technology survived because the people survived. The end of a city does not always mean the end of its population. Sometimes people move. Political centers change. Craft traditions continue somewhere else. What disappeared was Huanbei itself. After the abandonment, the city slowly returned to the landscape. Wooden roofs collapsed. Columns disappeared. Plants grew over the empty courtyards. Rain and floods carried soil across the ruins. Sediment covered the streets. The rammed earth walls slowly became hidden. The palace disappeared beneath layers of earth. The workshops disappeared. The gates disappeared. The city became invisible. Centuries passed. The Shang dynasty eventually disappeared. New dynasties ruled China. New capitals were built. New cities became powerful. The people living around the Huan River no longer knew that a huge Bronze Age royal city was buried beneath their feet. Then, in 1999, archaeologists identified the remains of Huanbei Shang city near modern Anyang. The discovery changed the picture of the Middle Shang-period. Beneath the soil was an enormous walled city. The city covered hundreds of hectares. The walls formed a carefully planned enclosure. Inside was a large palace temple complex. The foundations showed how much labor had been required to construct it. Workshops revealed specialized production. Moats helped define the city's defensive and controlled spaces. And beneath everything was the evidence of the final destruction. The archaeologists had found a city that had disappeared. Not in a legend. Not in a later story. In the ground. A layer of soil was removed. Then another. A wall appeared. A palace foundation emerged. The shape of an ancient building became visible. A workshop was identified. The city slowly returned. But it returned as ruins. No wooden roofs remained. No royal officials walked through the courtyards. No craftsmen stood beside the furnaces. No farmers entered through the gates. Only the physical remains survived. And then archaeologists reached the evidence of fire. Burned earth. Collapsed structures. Destruction across the royal complex. The final moments of Huanbei had survived beneath thousands of years of soil. The same fire that ended the city's life had also preserved evidence of what happened there. The archaeological site became a kind of frozen final chapter. The walls showed the city's size. The palace showed its importance. The workshops showed its technology. The burned layers showed its destruction. And the later development of Yinxu showed what came next. But the central question remained. Why was the city abandoned? One possibility is conflict. Another is deliberate destruction by the rulers themselves. Some researchers have argued that the lack of the kinds of objects expected from a suddenly destroyed settlement may indicate that valuable possessions were removed before the burning. There is also evidence of human sacrifice in the palace temple complex, reflecting the ritual practices of the Shang world. But none of these clues gives us a complete explanation for the city's abandonment. The evidence must be separated from speculation. We know Huanbei existed. We know it was a major Middle Shang center. We know it was occupied for roughly 50 to 60 years. We know the palace complex was destroyed by a major fire. We know the city was abandoned. And we know another royal center developed across the Huan River. Those facts create the mystery. Everything beyond them must be treated carefully. Because the most interesting ancient stories are not the ones where we pretend to know everything. They are the ones where the evidence stops. At Huanbei, the evidence stops at the moment we most want an answer. Someone knew why the city ended. The royal court knew. The craftsmen knew. The families who left knew. The people who crossed the river knew. But their voices are gone. Only the ruins remain. Now imagine Huanbei after the last people have left. The palace is empty. Ash covers the ground. The bronze furnaces are cold. The wooden gates stand damaged. The courtyards contain no workers. The river continues flowing beside the city. Across the water, construction has already begun. Workers carry baskets of earth. New foundations are being prepared. New wooden buildings are rising. A new royal center is taking shape. The political world has moved on. Huanbei has not. For thousands of years, the city remains hidden. Then archaeologists uncover it. The walls return. The palace returns. The workshops return. The fire returns. But the people do not. And that is the strange power of archaeology. It can bring a city back without bringing its inhabitants back. It can show us where they worked. It can show us what they built. It can show us what they burned. But it cannot always tell us what they were thinking. Huanbei therefore remains suspended between evidence and mystery. A real Bronze Age city. A real royal center. A real fire. A real abandonment. And a missing explanation. Perhaps future excavations will reveal another clue. An inscription could change the story. A nearby settlement could reveal where the population moved. A royal burial could provide evidence of political change. New scientific analysis could reveal more about the destruction. Or the exact reason may never be known. That possibility does not make Huanbei less important. It makes the surviving evidence more valuable. Because every burned foundation becomes a clue. Every palace platform becomes a clue. Every bronze mold becomes a clue. Every layer of soil becomes a clue. The city is speaking through what survived. More than 3,000 years ago, Huanbei was alive. Bronze furnaces glowed in dark workshops. Farmers carried grain through the gates. Workers built massive walls from packed earth. Officials moved through the palace. Rituals connected the royal court with the ancestors. The Huan River flowed beside the city. Then the fire came. The people left. The royal center moved across the river. Yinxu rose. And Huanbei disappeared. Today, we can stand on the same landscape and uncover the walls of that forgotten city. We can trace the palace foundations. We can examine the workshops. We can see the evidence of destruction. But we cannot ask the people who watched their city burn what happened. They knew. We do not. The people of Huanbei knew why they left. We arrived more than 3,000 years too late. And beneath the ancient soil, the answer may still be waiting. What really happened on the day Huanbei burned?